I mean, the biggest risk for your asset is going to be flood risk, in my opinion. So don't buy in flood zones. People quickly forget. It's very easy to check it online. So you can check the local government area.
Fire zones?
Yep, flood. Fire, yeah, definitely. That's sort of like my main investing principles are no flood, no fire.
Okay.
Heritage can limit your...
What's heritage? Just for everybody listening.
So there's...
What's a heritage zone? Right?
Yeah, so councils put heritage zonings over properties to keep the, I guess, aesthetic appeal of that location. So if you go and buy and it's got a heritage overlay on the property, then you won't be able to do certain things to that property from a renovation perspective. And some, like older houses, it might just be that, you've got to keep that, I guess, facade, and that can be quite expensive to maintain and
or sell.
Yeah, and not everyone's looking for that because they want the new shiny, knock down, rebuild, and that you can't do that with that heritage.
And maybe not everybody wants to rent in that investment that you might buy in that area too.
It's not too common unless you're in sort of Sydney, Melbourne, where they've got that older
apartment block sort of thing.
Houses, basically.
Yeah,
they got like it's a beautiful facade and it sort of holds the heritage of that area, but
they're like those properties with big stone fences and stuff, right?
Yeah, things like that, like old sandstone built in like the 1900s or even late 1800s.
Yeah.
So you sort of know what I'm talking about if you've ever tried to buy a property that has a heritage overlay and then you realise, crap, I can't do what I want to do on this property, and by then it's too late, and then you're going to try and sell it, and then if the market's shifted or you come to realise that people don't actually really want to buy them too much. So yeah, they're pretty key, and then easements as well.
Easements, what are those?
They're access. So an easement gives you it's a portion of that land is required.
An easement's like access. A clearing, right?
Yeah,
a clearing, and the clearing has a particular responsibility in case of a dangerous weather event, or what's...
No, so an easement, like you can have access easements, so people can use your land to get to their land. So it could be...
So that's not attractive for tenants.
It's just... say you've got 1,000 square metre block of land and there's a 100 square metre easement on it, you're really buying 900 square metres.
Yeah.
And also if there's an access easement to the rear of the property, people are driving down the side of your property, so it's less desirable. Other thing too for easements are like... water and electricity. So if you're looking at that if you want to knock down that house and rebuild, you're going to be constrained with what you can do on the land because there's easements that are around it, and those easements are, I guess, they're put there by the government, council, to restrict what you can do on it because they've got their underlying infrastructure below that land.
Yeah.
So that constrains what you can do on it, and it's less attractive. A lot of people do get caught up in that because they don't look, but most contractor sales have all contractor sales will have a title search on it. So read those title searches, seek out those easements, and ask those questions to the real estate agent.
You need to pay for a title search, and there's different places you can go and pay for those title searches. If you're doing it yourself, typically a solicitor will do this, or a conveyancer.
Yeah. Your real estate agent, they'll know. It'll be on the contract, so read through that and ask the questions.
What about living next to power plants? They're really healthy for you, right?
Yeah, they're very undesirable.
Yeah.
And in low supply markets like we're in at the moment, and then when the demand's increasing, people are just trying to find places to live. So they're starting to make sacrifices.
Yeah.
Don't sacrifice on easements.
Don't sacrifice on your health.
Yeah, and health. So power plants.
Sorry, easements, yeah, but yeah, health.
A really great example. So we're looking at buying a house for a client in Brisbane, and I was looking at a comparable sale. It had a power plant at the back of it. It was only, it only bordered it by 2 meters on the back boundary. However, initially they had a contract of $866,000 for this property, and then it fell over. The developer was like, no, I don't want it. That big power plant. And then another owner occupier came in. They were paying $811,000, and then the power plant came through and like, oh, actually no, we don't want that. end up selling for $750,000.
The power plant. So hang on. So the developer said no, and then owner occupier got 811 approved offer,
I put a contract on place for 811.
and then the power plant said what?
The power plant said nothing, but it's just that once they went in, they got under contract and they realised, oh, hold on, actually that's not what I want to pay. And all the comparable evidence is pointing probably that the house would be worth sort of low 800s. However, that power plant, it ended up selling for $750. So essentially that's a $70,000.
How did they get it from a contracted sale from 811 down to 750?
They exited, and then the next buyer came in,
Okay.
and they said, well, I'm only going to pay $750 because of that.
Yeah, got ya.
So in their eyes, they thought, well, it's a good deal. We're buying essentially under market value. But in reality, when you go to sell that, it's going to be the same problem.
Yep.
And council's not going to be moving a power station anytime soon.
Kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
Basically.
So that's pretty key. Also, with from a valuation perspective, they still do, they risk up properties. So banks will only lend to a maximum 80% loan to value ratio if you're within 50 metres of a high clearance power line.
Oh, that's really good to know. Because if you have pre-approval for 90% LVR, you can't, sometimes you might not be able to buy something that's in that area.
Yeah, you'd fall over on finance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
So that's a key point. What are the health prospects? My wife would say, don't ever buy near a power station.
Yep.
My grandma, she reached 100 the other week.
Oh, congrats. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, she's 100, but apparently she used to live under power lines. So
yeah.
What
was it, the 28th or 29th of April, her birthday?
No, it was 28th of March.
March, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
a couple months ago. Anyway.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're 100. Far out. I'm going to be 100 one day.
Well, time has, definitely.
But yeah, so there's some key things on the location of that asset.
Yeah.
So from the land perspective that I wanted to cover off.